As things get increasingly desperate for American small businesses, a new stimulus package is being pushed through, and this time, I have a belief that this will actually make it. All the provisions that are highly controversial have been removed, and probably to the detriment of many people, this deal will be the one that gets through. And this as Bitcoin is tickling its previous all-time high, just a few percent below historic price levels. We are on the verge of stimulus catalyzing an historic mother of all Bitcoin bull runs that will see appreciation in altcoins at potentially scales that we've never seen before. The more liquidity finds its way into the cryptocurrency ecosystem, the more liquidity can have transformative effects on altcoins. You're gonna absolutely love this. If you guys are excited, do me a favor and absolutely destroy that like button. And remember, as always, each and every comment on this video is entered to win your very own Ledger NOS. With that said, let's dive in. So today we get the news that a bipartisan group of lawmakers are readying 2 stimulus bills, and this is after dropping all of the different elements of the bill that have been controversial, such as state and local aid, which is desperately needed, especially in states like my own here in California. Hopefully this bill, which apparently has widespread bipartisan support, is looking like it could get through. And since its announcements, we've seen some nice green in the stock market, and we have reason to believe that these bills might get through this incredibly gridlocked Congress that we currently have. The reality is that what people kind of fail to realize about debt is that it kind of gets inflated away. One of the things that we'll be doing by creating this debt is causing inflation. We're going to be printing lots of money that's going to inflate and devalue the dollar. That devaluation of the dollar in turn then raises GDP. So the relationship between GDP and debt starts to become more manageable. The value of the GDP essentially captures every single bit of economic activity in the country. So as the value of the dollar goes down, the actual amount of dollars that need to swap hands for the same amounts of goods and services goes up. Essentially, by devaluing the dollar, we increase GDP. Wrap your heads around that. The same economy worth the same amount of real value as measured in something like property or gold. If you were to measure it in dollars that are being inflated, what you have is actually an economy that's growing in GDP, even if it's not actually growing in, more or less real value. So over time, the amount of GDP will eventually come into a more healthy relationship with the amount of debt. The point is that we could print our way out of the current crisis we're in, and eventually, if we were to cause inflation, that inflation would essentially bring the GDP to debt ratio more into a palatable relationship where we could eventually bring it back under control. This is exactly what happened during World War II and how we got out of that debt spiral where we really took on way more debt than we could handle as a nation, and many countries ended up doing the same. Fiat inflation eventually ended up kind of solving this relationship. The more important thing here is that 48% of businesses fear closing for good right now. 48%. That is 1 out of every 2 businesses. Businesses are essentially what runs this country. If we have half of our businesses close, I am very scared about what would happen next in the country. The fact is that we have the ability to fix this in the short term, and we should absolutely exercise that ability. And it is very disheartening to see this level of gridlock. I believe that there is tremendous will to get a deal done, and that over time, the pain that is being caused by this crisis will reach a breaking point and the politicians will have to act. I believe that we're almost there, because if 48% of businesses go down, there will be kind of permanent and irreparable harm caused to this country. I don't think anybody wants that. So I'm of the belief that we will get this bipartisan bill through, that there will be some stimulus, and that the effect on the markets will be pretty much superb for anything that is not the US dollar. With that said, the actual global FOMO for Bitcoin continues to mount and build in levels that we had only dreamed of prior to 2020. I mean, MassMutual now has just made their first Bitcoin purchase of $100 million. And although it can be a bit of a top signal, JP Morgan is saying that this is a huge sign that institutional crypto demand is rising. This is just another brick in the wall on top of MicroStrategy's yet another $600 million Bitcoin buy. On top of their already $475 million, we also have BlackRock, Stonebridge, Skybridge, Jack Dorsey's Square, and the list goes on and on and on. The amount of global institutional FOMO for Bitcoin is simply something that we've never seen before at these levels. And if you think that 19K is too expensive, then why would the most sophisticated investors in the world be buying at these levels? The reality is that Bitcoin is becoming the absolute best hedge against inflation that we've ever seen. And the country and the world needs to inflate, and they need to inflate together to get through what has been an absolutely devastating economic event for the widespread economy. We also have Jim Cramer, Mr. Mad Money, buying in the 17,000s. Now, in response to some people saying that Bitcoin wasn't looking so good on December 11th, he said, "I think I will buy some because true investors know that you buy red and you sell green. Many newbies and many unexperienced traders like to buy green and they like to sell red. And my hope is that with this content and this information I can provide to you, I can get you to do the exact opposite because you want to buy red and you want to sell green. But to do that, you need to understand the fundamental analysis, the underlying value propositions. And again, this is why I don't do these degen tokenomics only coins, because tokenomics only coins get a lot of FOMO, and when they're green, people buy them, and when they're red, people sell them. But when you have strong fundamental plays that have strong teams and technology, you can buy those red days because you know the green days are more likely around the corner. That's why you stick to the FA. That's why I stick to the FA. Again, you're not going to catch all the trains, and some of those trains that are those huge burn bright and burn out pump and dump coins, well, we're going to miss those. But that doesn't mean that we won't reliably get some great gains out of fundamentally strong projects. Speaking of fundamentally strong projects, Injective Protocol continues to push and trudge their way up with another exchange listing today. And it's just been a great project here. Injective dipping down, I think, on the lows to about under 70 cents. We were covering them since the beginning. And you guys know I'm bullish on, derivatives in general. They seem to have a very convincing derivatives product, decentralized derivatives DEX, and they're pushing up now. It looks like they're hitting about, 400% gains from when we first covered them back in October. So if you guys are here on the INJ train, congratulations to you guys. They're doing absolutely fantastic. Polkastarter also holding their gains, and this is because they're having a launch of their first project on Polkadot, which is the Spider DAO. So we'll see if Polkastarter can deliver and kind of be the first tokenized model to deliver some Polkadot DeFi. Again, the irony of all this is that all these projects are essentially on Ethereum until Polkadot really goes live. So there is really no Polkadot ecosystem. There's just the FOMO and the hype around what could be, which is obviously where cryptocurrency lives, is the belief in what could be a lot of times more than what is. Now, I wanted to cover this because I told you I was going to be doing a lot of NFT coverage, and this guy Beeple is started to do some absolutely astounding NFT sales. And on Nifty Gateway, he had a couple of NFTs sell for, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Absolutely astounding. I don't really know the full story here, but he says he's going to be doing an artist series with Meme, and so Meme went crazy. He's also doing like these just crazy artworks here. He did a SpongeBob one, he did an Elon Musk one, and they've just been going absolutely bonkers here. NFTs are making a huge splash right now. You need to be paying attention to this space because there's a lot of money to be made in NFTs, and 2021 is going to be the year of the NFT. I believe that very strongly. And as Bitcoin is able to finally pierce through and make newer and higher highs, the amount of excitement that's going to flood into the altcoins is, in my opinion, going to be life-changing. And the big question is, do we go down and we have a more significant dip first? Do we eventually make it up and over this hump to newer and higher highs? Does it take us into Q1 or Q2 of next year? That is not important to me as far as timing, as much as it is a matter of understanding how to react when different scenarios emerge. If we get a big dip right now, I've been talking about this as the last real dip before the big party begins, because it is now time for us to make newer and higher highs on Bitcoin if we're going with the 4-year cycle. It looks like the economy in general, with stimulus, with the general devaluing of the dollar, the need for a safe haven asset, all of these things are pushing Bitcoin to newer and higher highs. And again, the age-old 4-year cycle, hash ribbons, all those predictive models are saying that now is the time to get in for this new bull run. So in my opinion, the reality is that we're looking at a situation where if we dip, I'm going to be looking at that as an amazing opportunity. Nonetheless, I'm always looking for micro cap opportunities and small cap opportunities as they come to market, because those can pump even in this sideways kind of boring Bitcoin action. Now, as I said, I'm going to be trying to adjust my strategy on coverage here so I don't give as much lead time to potential bad actors to attack the opportunities that I'm interested in. I'm going to be covering things right as they're coming to market, right on time, if you will, and I'm going to be covering things that are already sitting on the market that I think are not getting enough love. So again, if you guys want to know exactly the gems that I'm going in and buying, then you should have the notification bell on, because that's going to be the trigger. I'm not going to be giving you guys as much time with the coverage because that is set up a little bit too much of a gamified situation where people who have bots and stuff are using those. So I'm going to be having the notification gang. You guys are going to be in the driver's seat. So make sure you have the notification bell on. There's a ton of opportunities in the market right now. now a ton of really high quality projects, a ton of projects that have maybe lost their luster and that the market has really not been paying attention to. And in my opinion, they're truly undervalued. So if you guys are going to have that notification bell on, we're going to be bringing some awesome gems to you guys. Obviously, if you've been following my coverage that we've already been talking about a few micros and small caps that are about to launch this month. I hope for your guys' sake that you guys are ready and have a good strategy as to how you're going to get involved. And if you see that the FOMO is bubbling over and that the price has already pumped 5-10x immediately on the launch before you get there, guys, there's no shame in just staying away and saying, hey, live to fight another day here, and don't rush in when something's overinflated and be holding the bag. That's the best thing you can do here. Obviously not financial advice, just a strategy I use. Understand that if the thing has already done some parabolic movement, you might want to just wait for it to subside a bit. Regardless, whether we dip and then come back up or just get pushed over by artificial growth of the economy through stimulus, whichever the situation is, I want you guys ready to seize upon these moments and take advantage of them, and understand that as we push forward and we make a new high in Bitcoin, we will probably charge much, much higher in the not too distant future. And that as we start getting increasingly interesting multiples, 50%, 100%, 200% gains over prior all-time high, the effect on the altcoins will be so dramatic. So you're going to want to be into your strong fundamental altcoins, whether those are ones that have already been existing for a while, or my favorites, the ones that have never had their extreme parabolic bull run activity yet. So if you guys are excited to hear about all this stuff, if you enjoyed today's video about stimulus and how it's going to catalyze an absolutely historic and life-changing bull run, then please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It's a free and easy way to support the channel. And remember, of course, that if you want the information first from this channel, please put that notification bell on. As always, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter or Telegram, the links for both of those are in the description. I thank you so much for watching. My name's Elio Trades, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.